Okay, so real quick, sorry I haven't been updating lately. I will get back to Xenoblade, I promise you that, but I thought we'd take a small detour first. Fire up the Game Boy player because during Comic Con, which I was at last weekend, very fun. We'll talk more about it at the Bitcoin Gamers if you watch that. Do a vlog maybe. I picked up a copy of Kirby's Dream Land, the first Kirby game on the Game Boy, released in 1992, which was a year before I was born. If you want a little more background on who I am and what I do. So yes, being that I played Kirby's Epic Yarn, I felt like that was such an unconventional Kirby game, and if I introduce you to the world of Kirby, I thought it'd be better if I show you a more conventional Kirby game, or the first. Now, just so you know, a more conventional Kirby game would have the copy ability. In this game, the copy ability does not exist. For those who don't know, the copy ability is when if Kirby sucks up an enemy with a certain power, Kirby will gain that power when swallowing the enemy. Here, eating enemies is all about using them as projectiles at other enemies. There's a very unique concept. Kirby was originally going to be a character named Popopo, and the sprite used for Kirby and his design, being a ball with feet, was actually just a model they made really simple, so it can be a stand-in for Popopo, and they'll replace his sprite with a Popopo sprite later. But Miyamoto, the creator of the game, loved this design so much, he decided to stick with it and named him Kirby, which is rumored to be named after John Kirby, the lawyer who settled the Donkey Kong lawsuit for Nintendo, which, for those who don't know, Universal Studios sued Donkey Kong for the likeness of King Kong. Then they found out that then John Kirby pointed out that, hey, Universal, you don't have the rights to them either. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to show you guys this game off, where Kirby gets a start. If you really want to start with a Kirby game, if you're really interested, play Superstar for the Super Nintendo. I think that's an excellent start, and there's many ways to play Kirby in that game. Okay, so we got all the facts out of the way. Here's another one. Shigeru Miyamoto and Masahiro Sakurai had a fight about what color Kirby was going to be. In the cover of this game, he was white. They just decided, since this was a black and white game, they would just make him white. Here, obviously, you see it in color. That's because the Game Boy player, as well as a Super Game Boy, which I believe was available when this game came out, put Game Boy games in color, and most of the time it didn't look that good. But I gotta say, they did a good job here. It actually looks pretty good, and the fact that Kirby is pink here, I think Sakurai was pulling one on Miyamoto. Like all these years, he'll never know I made him pink when I was designing him, because it's in black and white. But little do you know, there he is on the Game Boy player, in pink. Which is also why in Super Smash Bros., a little useless fact for you, Super Smash Bros., when you pick Kirby and you change his color, rather than the second player being blue like all the other ones is, the second player color for Kirby is yellow, the default color. Okay, here's one instance where you have a pre-copy ability. That was the mic power, which is a screen nuke. There is a couple of more, but they're not really powers. You will see enemies that have certain abilities Kirby will get later. But the copy ability started in Kirby's Adventure for the NES, which was made the next year in '93, the year I was born. There's a bomb, another ability, but it's really just a projectile that can go straight through enemies. One time, here's a Rate Face. Looks like a lot like the one from Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of background on Kirby for you. That was really the point of this little thing. And this is also my first live Let's Play. Live Let's Play, for those who don't know, is when you don't take a break. This is all one run. You record it and done. And this is an easy game, so I thought it'd be good to start with. Masahiro Sakurai developed this game because he wanted a game for beginners. And you know, it really amazes me how big Kirby's fan base, despite the fact that it was meant for beginners. This is a beginner game. This is a great game to start with, especially for platformers. And it also has some other side genres, which we'll see in a bit. So yeah, this game is not hard to strategize for. It's easy to make mistakes, that's for sure. And Kirby games do get progressively harder as the years go by, but they never get difficult. But it's not a bad thing. It really isn't. And Kirby games, I always like to say when I describe someone, Kirby games are made of fun. They're just a lot of fun to play. They're very imaginative, and I always liked what Sakurai had to say about Kirby's design. It's something that, which is the inspiration of the copy ability. It's a design that you can use for anything. Like, it makes Kirby moldable. He can be anything, which is why there's so many other unconventional Kirby games where Kirby may have, like, Mass Attack, where there's several Kirbys you have to control him, the Stylus, or Epic Yarn, where he's made of yarn, or the Magic Mirror. There's a lot of interesting ways to play Kirby. Kirby is cool. Yeah, I think that works. So here's Lolo and Lala. Sorry I didn't comment about Wispy Woods. I was a little busy with my Kirby 101. Wispy Woods is the classic first enemy. He's the tree I was fighting. Very simple strategy. Just get the apples and hit him. If he's spitting out the little breaths of death that Kirby also possesses, just duck. This is Lolo and Lala. They will appear in another HAL game, The Adventures of Lolo, where Lala gets kidnapped and Lolo has to go through several floors of a dungeon. It's a puzzle game. Also the first game I've ever beaten on my own. Yeah, you kill them, you get your thing. And yeah. Sorry about not saying I got an awesome dance. I really don't know when it is. I'm doing post-commentary, which I haven't done in a while. And unfortunately, I don't have my headphones on me, so I can't play the audio. So you're gonna have to excuse me for that. Very simple Game Boy game, you know, not a lot of depth like there is now with the 3DS kind of stuff. As you saw, this little thing used the laser ability. Of course, I can't use that. Just so you know. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Yeah, Kirby. Now, there is a lot of variety of enemies, which I like. A lot of variety in levels, which I like. There's only 5 stages in this game. Not complicated. It's a lot more complicated when Adventure starts, which really made the mold for Kirby games. But like I said, Superstar is a great place to start. Especially with all the modes you can play as. You know? Kirby boss. So I'm looking up the story of this game because, like as you know, games at this time, the 90s and the 80s, when gaming came back, games at this time really didn't have a great idea to how they will express their game story. So you really had to use your imagination, or more respectively, you had to read the instruction booklet, which told you what the story was about. Okay, so let me see here. Here we go. I'm on the Wikipedia. Kirby's Dream Land, 1992, third-party developed platforming video game developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo for the Game Boy handheld video game console. The Game Boy is a great the Game Boy to this day is a great starting place for gamers. That's not part of the wiki. I just said that myself because I know it sounded like I read that. It's first released in Japan, later released in North America. Where's the story? His trademark copy ability would not appear until Kirby's Adventure. Where's the story? Here we go. The gluttonous King Dedede has stolen all the food from the inhabitants of Dreamland for a midnight feast. He stole their food because he's a mean, evil king. Of course, his role does change in different Kirby games. A resident of Dreamland goes to retrieve the food and stop Dedede. Kirby's Dreamland plays like other platformers in 8-bit and 16-bit era video games. Kirby must use various natural abilities and occasionally external abilities like the mic or items that will help them towards the goal at the end of each level. So yeah. Here we are. Oh, there we go. I'm back on the video. Yes, remember when I said in Kirby's Epic Yarn that every Kirby game has that really random shooter section? This is it for the first game. This is a tradition of always. little nice fact about this dance. These are just Kirby's natural movements that was designed for the game. They wanted to do a dance with dancing programs, but they felt that was too complicated for the technology at the time. So cleverly, they just here's another example they just take a bunch of sprites that Kirby has and they animate them to make a dance. So yeah, that's always fun. As you can see, the game has a lot to do with traveling from. Oh, Scarface! Scarface, run away! Yeah, Scarface are scary. Best thing to do: use your breath of death. Breath of death to make them explode. Keep your distance because they can hurt. Scarface hurt. I like their enemy idea though. They're cute. You think they're harmless, but then you try to swallow them and they get angry. Pretty ugly. So yeah, as you can see, it's not a hard game. There's only one part of this because I've beaten this time, and it's a real testament to how Kirby games work. You know, if you don't know what you're doing, you can die a couple times, but you'll never really get a game over. That's how it works in Kirby. Kirby's just a lot of fun. It's a nice game to sit back with. It makes me wish I can dust off a Game Boy again. I have a game. My Game Boy Color is buried pretty deep in my closet somewhere. I gotta find it. I remember I was playing Pokemon Yellow on it for a while. I gotta dig that up again. That guy's always a jerk. That's his jerkish enemy placement because he always hits you on the way to the door. But if you do what I did, you'll be fine. Now, something you can exploit is it doesn't matter when you swallow an enemy. If he's coming from the sky or something, it doesn't matter where it doesn't matter if you really point your mouth at it to swallow it. As long as it's facing the right side of Kirby, the side his mouth is, it can hit hit Kirby's eyes and also swallow it. That's something to exploit because it can really come in handy. Also, something not a lot of people know, surprisingly, is while Kirby's falling, if he's face down, that will kill enemies without death. Here's Kracko. We all know him from Kirby's Epic Yarn. He made an appearance there. Lola didn't. They haven't made one since this game. They had their own game. They also appeared in the Kirby Right Back at Ya, the Kirby's Right Back at Ya anime, which has been continuing on Nintendo TV for the 3DS, Nintendo Video, which is pretty cool. I like watching. It was alright. I liked the anime. It was pretty cool. I see what they're going for. It was kind of clumsy in places, but it was pretty cool. Really weird choices for voice acting though, but what are you gonna do? What I like about this game here is there's only 5 stages, but each stage brings you more and more up and up and up towards the heavens to really reach the final boss. It's very climactic, very cool. Here's a Mega Mado. You saw one before, but I missed commentating over it. The Mega Mado is your ultimate health boost. For those who don't know, Kirby loves to eat. That is one of Kirby's favorite things to do. And the tomato, or the Mega Mado, is his favorite meal. He loves tomatoes. Just so you know. This part I suggest slow down a little bit. Let the blocks be ahead of you, because if not, you can fall on those points, and it's really nasty. As you can see, I stopped there for a second. And yeah. Alright, I'm going to show off a really classic Kirby secret. This is pretty much in every Kirby game. If you find a moon, it's a door to a secret area. This flung me up. Great bonus area. Got myself a Mega Mado, get my health back. I had a lot of close calls. Ooh, I want that, and I got it. Okay, I want that too, and I missed it. Okay, Kracko is back. You were such a wimp. You what? Okay, this actually is an easier form, I think, even though the first form is also easy. But you have to know what you're doing. I bumbled around here a little bit. I don't know why I did that. I was being really stupid, but yeah. This is where I start to get it again. Stay the opposite side of him. As long as you stay the opposite side of him, he won't do that little attack that just hit me. That's the only thing that really hits you. Kracko does get harder in the future Kirby games. In fact, arguably he would be the hardest boss. In Kirby's Adventure, though, I think the hardest boss is definitely the Sun and the Moon. I don't want to spoil anything, but I just want to let you know when you'll find out if you play. So it's really nice to own this game. I owned it on the 3DS, and that's my first time ever playing it. But playing it here is really cool, especially since I get to play it in color-ish, you know. It's not perfect color, you know. They never intended these colors to be visible, being that's on the original Game Boy, but it's enjoyable, you know. That's what I liked about the Super Game Boy and the Game Boy player. Is like they put the black and white games in color. I wish the 3DS would give you that option. Even though the color palettes can be pretty bad. Okay, here we are, Mount Dedede. Okay, this is not that big of a level. It's actually a boss rush. This is a very classic thing to do, specifically in platformers, especially Game Boy games, shorter games, NES games, you know, 8-bit games in general, because it lengthens it a little bit. The bosses don't change that much, actually at all. It's the same boss fight. You just do them all in a row. You don't get refills on health, so just be aware of that. Okay, as you can see, that guy's there, so I have to touch the past me. I guess I'm going back in time or something. If you want to make a story about it, it's probably going back in time. Dedede's sending me all the way through time, and I'm, you know, going through all this stuff. Gotta connect with my former self to fix the space-time continuum and beat the crap out of the boss. Yeah, so Wispy Wood's not gonna do a proper thing here, commentating, which I'm glad they repeated the bosses because of that. Wispy Wood's simple boss, very simple boss, very good boss to start with. It really makes it true to the fact that it's a game for beginners, because it really does a good job in introducing someone to games, well, specifically platformers. There's past me again. I'm gonna grab him, fix space-time continuum, and face Lolo and Lala once again. Now here you gotta be careful, because you gotta remember you can't be too careless, because you will get hit like that, and if you get hit too many times, you'll die. You got six hits. Good luck. So yeah, Lolo and Lala got their own game from HAL Laboratories. HAL Laboratories is a second-party developer for Nintendo. They also make Super Smash Brothers games, and they actually make their more and more recent newer projects is Kid Icarus Uprising, which I'm interested in playing one of these days. Kill you. No, I almost killed him. No, come on. I hate when you swallow it, like you hold down for too long. You can go down the thinner platforms by holding down. But the problem is, when you have a projectile in your mouth, if you hold down for too long, you'll swallow it on the solid floor. Okay, next boss. Okay, I think this is the one time I actually get hit before. No, that already happened. Yeah. I was gonna say I think this is the one time I actually get hit before I get to the boss, but no, I think that already happened. Oh, that was close. Spikes are the worst. I hate spikes in any game. Not because they're annoying and I dislike them. I just hate them because I get hit by them. And I like getting hit. That made no sense what I just said. Recant that. Okay, so yeah, like I said, let me expand a little more on why I like this as a game for beginners. I think it does a great job at that idea, because the whole concept is it's a game for beginners, and the whole using enemies as projectiles is a very unique concept. I love how it does this. It really does a great job at introducing gamers to gaming. Moon? No, it doesn't work in that part, just so you know. I thought I'd demonstrate that so you don't go crazy. Just fall, doesn't matter. Boom, that is a screen nuke when you fix the space-time continuum. Next we're going to face Kracko once again. Kracko is another returning boss like Wispy Woods. In fact, Lolo and Lala are the only bosses you don't see anymore. Maybe in the new 3DS Kirby game they'll bring back Lolo and Lala, I don't know. I'm very excited for that game. I was actually asking about it. I was actually wondering about a new Kirby game recently. I know they were busy with Smash Bros. HAL Laboratory, but I was hoping for a new Kirby. I do want that first HD Kirby game. I'm actually really interested to see what they might come up with the Wii U. Because remember, a lot of Kirby games don't always have to be the copy-ability side-scrolling platformer. They can do twists on it, like they did with Kirby 64, where you combine powers or whatnot. And you know, just lots of stuff like that. And there, Crack was dead. Now only one place to go, the middle. We're gonna face DDD in the ring. I had two health here. I'm really nervous about dying at this point. Just play it safe, you know. You have the jump over him without using the flight is kind of tricky, so I end up just using the flight. So that does bite in the butt sometimes, but I think I've actually found a good match. I found a good thing with it. That is your punishment for flying up too high. He will DDD will continue to attack and knock you down with his hammer. DDD fight like Kracko. If you know what you're doing, it's pretty breakable. Just stay on the opposite side. In fact, that's an answer to a lot of Kirby bosses. You stay on the opposite side, and you make sure you're quick enough. You know what attacks he's doing, you follow this body language. That's what it's all about. So yeah, one thing I was nervous about was, can I do this all in one life? In my practice run, I actually didn't. In fact, I died to this boss like 3 times. But yeah, the only way you can really die in Kirby is if you start getting careless. I mean, that goes for any game, but this is the game for beginners, so it's really not that bad to stay alive. Something I neglected to mention, which is really being shown off very well in this boss fight, is when you fly, it slows you down exponentially. I believe that you are an amateur Kirby player if you depend on that flight too much, because it's more efficient just to do a regular jump. Like I said, the reason why I'm flying when I jump is I don't like to risk getting hit by DD because he really hurts. I mean, he doesn't do multiple shots. One shot is 1 damage and all, but still, it's not a lot. It's not fun. And yeah, that's how it is. He's got basically, whenever I say, if I ever do a Kirby game, I will say Dreamland style a lot. I'm referring to this game without the copy abilities, because it's nice to not, sometimes it's nice to play a Kirby game without depending so much on copy abilities. And this game really shows off why, because it's it makes things a little more quick paced, and here's the end already. So yeah, Kirby turns into a balloon. It's actually pretty funny looking, and drops all the food back to Dreamland. Yeah. And that's Kirby in Dreamland. Hope you like that. Director, designer, Masa Sakurai. They couldn't fit the whole name, so it was just Masa Sakurai, probably just a nickname. Here's Sunday Rain, programmer. I guess it's a nickname too. Yeah, short credits. Not a big game. It wasn't hard to design for. So yeah. Few designers, sound composer, a lot of good music in this game. It's not my favorite Kirby soundtrack. Kirby has some great music. Special thanks, Bubby, and special thanks, Cypherfer. I don't know. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. A little more here. Just got the credits and so many players they like to thank. Kirby's Dream Land presented by HAL Laboratory and Nintendo. Thank you for playing. I do want to see HAL do more projects in the future, but they have what I like to call HAL syndrome, when they end up depending on Kirby. I mean, Kid Icarus was the one time they didn't do that, because every project they have has Kirby in it, except for Kid Icarus. So here we are, Rejoice as Kirby. There's a lot of interesting early ideas, like you can see the audience cheering for Kirby look like Kirby himself, but I think the story definitely changes around as time goes on. Okay, once you beat the game once, you don't have to beat the game. So if you just want to use this little code right here for that, you can just skip this part and go straight to the end. Yeah, up selects A starts the hard mode. Goodbye, everybody.